Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make these videos here on my channel, Watch Barbara Knit. If you'd like to learn more about any of my patterns, please check in the description below, and there you will find a link to my Ravelry store where you can go through and browse all of the patterns that I have available that you can purchase and download as a digital file, and then you can knit it yourself. And if you are knitting something of mine, or if you have knitted something of mine, I would love to hear about it. I would love to see what you did with it, what yarn you chose. Please feel free to talk to me about it in the comments below. And also, I now have a Facebook group for Watch Barbara Knit where we can continue the conversation that we are having here on YouTube. So check in the description below definitely for the link to that Facebook group. I would love to have you over. Now, it is the third Thursday, so that means it's a Let's Talk day. And what Let's Talk is I just chat about a knitting related subject. I've done cowls, I've done shawls, and I do technique. You know what? I can talk about anything because you know what? I can talk about knitting for a long time. So please, if you have something that you'd like to hear me talk about, I would love to hear about it in the comments. You let me know. The thing I am talking about today is something that is near and dear to my heart, and I think that some people are just fine with, and some people maybe could use a little help with, and that is reading charts. First, I guess what I'd talk about is what is a chart. A chart is a concise way of communicating a large amount of information, knitting instructions, in a very discreet way. Now, I have a pattern here. This is Lady Jessica, and as you can see, it is a lace shawl. And so here, let me show you. So here are the written instructions for how to knit this shawl, okay? And here's the chart. So this is the same amount of instructions to knit this shawl as it took me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages written out. So I try my best when it is possible to provide both written and charted instructions in my patterns, because I know some people don't like charts, but sometimes it's really just not feasible and the patterns get ridiculously long, or you just can't communicate the information. But with a chart, you can definitely do it. Now, things that I want to talk to you about charts is that the thing that took me longest to wrap my brain around, that finally made me click, is understanding that your chart is a visual representation of what your finished piece is going to look like, but laid out in a grid. So sometimes it's hard to grasp that. But that is why, so when you look at most patterns, they're going to say, so here, the little box for knit, that little blank square means on the right side. When you're looking at a right side row, that means you knit, but on the wrong side row, that means you purl, which people are like, well, it's confusing that the different symbol means something different depending on what row it's on. And that is because the little blank symbol is showing you this is knit, but from the right side. So when you're looking at it from the right side, visually, it looks like a knit stitch. Does that make any sense? Which is why then next you have the little dot. So that's your purl, but it's a purl as you look at it from the right side. So when you work the wrong side, you knit, because the wrong side of a knit, so you want the purl bump to show on the right side. So you knit on the wrong side, so the purl bump shows on the right side. And that is why the directional increases, decreases when it slants. it's always, when you're looking, it's so when you look at it, if you're looking at the right side of your knitted piece, that is going to angle this way. So on the right side, it's going to look like this, but on the wrong side, you're going to have to purl two together instead. And I don't know if that helped at all. It is kind of confusing, and I'm going to show you probably, hopefully, better. I have a screen share, but so first I'm going to show you. So this is a swatch I made, okay? And then now I'm going to show you on here. This is my designing software, how I design my charts and how I lay it out. And this is the chart for the bottom half of this, which you can see is a little bit of texture and a little bit of cable. So what this is telling you, now this is how it looks like when I lay it out. I can come over here and put a new symbol in if I want to. I need my pencil. See, there you go. I can make him go away. Now, if you were knitting from the pattern, this is what the pattern would look like. Now, looking at this chart, it tells us a lot of information right off top. One thing that it tells you is this is knit flat. The reason why you can tell it's knit flat is because it has numbers on both sides of the chart. To work the chart, you start and you work it in the same direction as you knit. You start in the lower right-hand corner, right here, and work across the row this way, and then you go up, and then you work that row coming back in this direction. So you work right to left, and then left to right, okay? Now looking right here, reading this chart, so these are knits, because they're on the right side, and then here, it is looking right here, that you want visually, looking at it from the right side, to see the purl bumps. So you're knitting on the wrong side, so the purl shows on the right side, and this combination of blank boxes and then little purls is what garter looks like, okay? And then over here, where all you see is plain boxes, is what stockinette looks like, because you're seeing knits only from the right side. Now this is, when you work it, it's knit on the right side, but purled on the wrong side, so that it only presents the knit side to the right side, to what you're looking at. Now, the other thing this is telling you is, see this little box here? Actually, what I should do is I go to this where I do borders, and I can do text, and then I will click this here, and I will write repeat times 3. And then I'll stick him right there. When we go back to the pattern, that is what it's telling you. This box is telling you that you repeat those sets of stitches 3 times. So the way you would read this is knit 2, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So you knit 5, and then you knit 5 a second time, and then you knit 5 a third time. So you've repeated it 3 times. Then you purl 1, and then you've got this little crazy guy here. What is that little guy doing? That is a 1/1 right cross. It is a cable instruction. And you can see visually this, you can see it crossing. It looks like a cable, and it's showing you. And if you look at it, this is going, so what it is this, you can see it goes behind there. So what that's telling you is take one stitch, hold it to the back, knit the next one, and then so you've crossed it that way. Now, right cable means that it's twisting, it's leaning to the right. And then you knit 2, and then you purl 1, and you knit 2. Coming back, you knit 3, because remember, these are showing purl bumps on the front, so you're knitting on the back. Then you purl 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you knit 1, and then you purl 5, and purl 5 again, and purl 5 again, because you repeat that times 3 and then you knit 2. So that has created this first row, and it's creating your texture. And this is what I'm talking about. See, it presents as knit. So it is showing you exactly what we're doing here. Now let's go to my other chart, which has here. This is a lace chart. And what I was saying is, see this symbol right here? That is knit 2 together. It is a right-leaning decrease. And it shows you that you're going to make those 2 stitches go together this way, and then the circle is your yarn over. If you look here, you can see these stitches. You have them going out, and the yarn over, see, they stack right on top of each other. 1, 2, 3. Now this central one, you can see you have a stitch coming this way, a stitch coming in this way, and then one up the center. That's a centered double decrease. Or this one has it slip 2 together, knit 1, pass 2 slip stitches over. Those are 2 different ways to say the same thing. But it's telling you that 3 stitches are coming together into 1 stitch. Now, if you look here, I've set this one up that it is, you can tell this would be knit in the round based on this chart. Because when you knit in the round, again, you start in the lower right-hand corner and you knit, you read from right to left. But instead of working back across the row, you are knitting in the round and you just keep on going spiraled up in a circle. So then you come back here to 2 and you work across, and that's just the way it goes. Now, you can see here, there's no indication of right side, wrong side, because everything is viewed from the right side because you're only working from the right side because you're working in the round. So you can see there's only 1 symbol for knit and 1 symbol for purl, and that's how it shows up on the face or the right side of your knitting. So you can see that, and this has a little texture. So you've got these panels of reverse stockinette and stockinette, which you can see all these dots, because the only thing you can see from the right side is purls. So where you have all these dots, that's reverse stockinette, and then everything that's squares is stockinette. So that is your basic approach to reading charts. The big thing that you have to remember is that you always start in the lower right-hand corner and read from right to left. And if you're working flat, then on the next row, wrong side rows, you read left to right. If you're working in the round, you start in the lower right-hand corner and work right to left, and then come back for the next row round and read right to left again. You need to make sure you look at your key, and your key is what is going to tell you what the symbols on that chart means. There are a lot of charts that are symbols that are pretty much generally accepted, but different charting programs and different designers use different symbols. So you have to always double check on the chart what the symbols on that chart means, and then compare that to wherever in the pattern it gives you the stitch instructions. So what you have here is, here's your chart, right? There's your chart key, and then your stitch instructions in my pattern are going to be right here, and it gives you all the instructions for those stitches and how you work them, so what those symbols mean. Now this is just your generally accepted charting. I know there are some designers who use different techniques, so just read their chart and make sure you understand what they're telling you. And if you have any questions, I always welcome emails from people. I put my email address right in the description for all of my patterns. And if you guys have any questions about reading charts, please ask them in the comments below. I'd be happy, or come over to the Facebook group and we can continue the conversation. This is obviously, I just touched on lace and cables. Color work is frequently charted and it has slightly different set of rules. I'd be happy to cover if anyone's interested. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video to my channel, please click the subscribe button. Please click the subscribe button and click for notifications. Thank you so much.